Where are your money?
If you want to get paid more, you have to learn how to drive a truck.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. Some of my friends are calling me a walking encyclopedia. Every type of job or work can teach you some.
See? Communication, guys.
First official job in
Did
America.
you have a license?
I'm still waiting. In Russia, it's kind of democratic country, so and this was the reason why actually I moved to California.
I have a feeling whenever you go, you have friends everywhere.
For them, I'm like Chinese. Use all your skills. I love singing.
I feel bad I didn't know you when I moved here.
Yes and no. Culture, food, different.
Different.
Use all your skills in order to be able to provide yourself.
Such a good advice. About all the fun in the United States. Who can make a party at any place at any time of the day? Let me introduce my guest, a person who helps create an inviting and pleasant atmosphere everywhere he goes. An event host, an immigrant from Uzbekistan, Danil Tegay. His name is Danil Tegay. Welcome, Danil. Nice to meet you too. Everyone has its own story of immigration. What is yours?
So I was born and raised in Russia, and I lived there for like 13 years of my life altogether. 14 years in Uzbekistan and then 16 years in Russia. But I'm a Korean descendant, as you can see. So my very first time when I came to the United States of America was like in 2009. I came here to study. For a couple months, I was just kind of taking a course how to improve my teaching skills, and I went to Utah, and I stayed there for a couple months. And for me, honestly, that time, America kind of didn't take a part of my heart. I didn't really enjoy staying here. So then I came back to Russia, and I got an opportunity to go and teach to South Korea for 2 years. So yeah, and then I came back to Russia again, and I lived there. I was working. I had my small business there. A lot of my friends actually immigrated to the States, and they were always like asking me, inviting me. And early in 2015 or 14, I started thinking about it to immigrate to either to Korea or America. So I had two options. So in early 2016, when there was kind of an economical crisis occurred in Russia, and I just decided that probably it's time, time to move forward and start my new page of life and just move on, So I sold out all the businesses and paid off all of my, credits and stuff. And yeah, I just went to the embassy, and I thought, well, if they will give me a visa, I guess this is a sign that I need to go and check it out. It was so hard to get a visa because I am a citizen of Uzbekistan actually, and I couldn't obtain a visa in Russia, so I had to go back home. And it's a long story, but make it short. There are two countries in the world, like Uzbekistan and North Korea, which are not allowed their citizens to go anywhere without their permission. So in order for me to obtain any type of visa, I had to go to government department, 9 different departments, to get a stamp saying you're allowed to leave the country for 2 years.
Wow.
And then you have to come back and get the visa again.
I would expect it from North Korea, but not from Uzbekistan.
Well, Uzbekistan is kind of a country like very, very unique. So I had only $100 in my pocket.
Wait, you just told us you sold everything.
Yes.
Where are your money?
I sold out all the businesses and paid off the credits
all
and
the
debts. All the debts for my business and everything. So I just wanted to leave Russia having no debt in my pocket. So at that time, I did not have any idea what I would do here.
Since that time, did you regret that you left Russia?
I've been living in America for 5 years, and so far I don't regret. When I first came to America, even though I didn't have kind of stability or kind of, perspective or the vision of my future here, I felt good. And this is what I like about Los Angeles. No matter who you are, no matter what you believe in, no matter what, your religion, sexuality, whatever it is, people are welcome here and they accept it, and you kind of become a part of this family. And I really love this diversity. So that's why I thought and I felt personally that I fit this community, real well.
What was the first job you got here?
In America?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The very first job I did actually was in Utah. And it was a job for my friends. My friends were just offering some help. They paid for my stay, for my clothes, for food, everything. And I felt kind of not good about it because, when I moved to America, I was 33 years old. If I was 18, I would say, yeah, sure, take care of me. I love it. I would. Yeah. But when you're 33, you don't want to feel like you're a moocher, or like, or burden for my friends. So, and at that time it was kind of snowy, and I said, well, I would like to help you somehow, just tell me what I can do. And the family who I lived with, they were kind of 6 years old, and they said, okay, well, my husband needs to take out the snow from the roof. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do that. So I just was helping them with all the kind of home and stuff. So my very first job, I was just shuffling the snow from the roof, I think every type of job or work can teach you something, The second job I got, it was very funny story. You want me to tell you?
Sure.
We were since I'm Korean, I really love Korean barbecue. Do you like Korean barbecue?
Yes, I do.
I know, everybody loves it. So we went to Korean barbecue place, and with all my friends, we were celebrating some kind of party and stuff, like a birthday or something of my friend, and the service was so bad. But in California, if you have a party of 6 or more, they're charging you 20% or 80% service charge. So when we got the bill, I'm like, wow, service charge is included, but the service was so bad. So I just asked manager, like, can I talk to the manager because about the situation? And back to Russia, I worked in restaurants, as a part-time job.
So you knew what to say.
I knew what to say. I know how it's
helps.
Supposed to be running. And at that time, they did not have a manager, but one guy came up to me and he's like, yeah, you ask for manager, I'm here to help you. So I told him everything what happened and asked him just, waive it because the service wasn't provided. He took it, he just was listening to me carefully. He was Korean, so I spoke Korean to him.
Oh, you spoke Korean? Okay.
Yeah, and bowed to him how it's supposed to be because he's older than me. And after party, he just gave me his business card. He said, actually, if you're looking for a job, call me tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, job. I'm like, okay, cool. So I just called him the other day, and he said, well, actually, I wasn't the manager. Manager was fired, and I'm actually the headquarter representative of our chain.
Wow.
And I'm offering you a position as a general manager of this restaurant.
You just got it right time, right? Even
I'm like,
complaining
what?
Helped you.
Yeah, sure. He's like, bring all your documentations and we're gonna have another final interview with you and you can start working.
So when you came here, you had a visitor visa, right?
It's called tourist visa, B1, B2. Yeah, tourist and only for 1 year. Because Uzbekistan gives a visa only for 1 year.
How did you transfer it? How
I changed my status?
Yes, how you changed your status, yeah.
I was thinking about it because there's so many different ways how to do it legally here. Either marriage or get a student visa or there are a lot of different opportunities. I was thinking about it. like to become a student, it wasn't my way because I was already a teacher. I went through the school, even though I had a sponsor and friends were willing to pay for my school here. I said no, I don't want to waste time and money because I was 33, and I said, well, no, it's too late. It's never late to learn things. Don't get me wrong, but to go to school and become a teacher, I mean a student, sorry, it's kind of not my way. Marriage, I wasn't ready to get married. I didn't want to deal with fake people, fake marriages, no. So one of my friends, he worked for the government in Utah. He's actually, a secretary of the governor. And we were friends. And he just mentioned there's a kind of a program, a refugee program. I'm like, what kind of refugee program? He's like, well, there's two types of refugees and asylum. I'm like, I'm not familiar with that. So he just sent me to his friend who is a lawyer. And he actually has an office here in California. And this was the reason why actually I moved to California, because I went to meet with a lawyer and he told me, yeah, there is a way how you can just change your status. You can apply and seek for asylum. And I'm like, okay, cool. So in early 2017, I just filed my case and I'm still waiting for the interview.
Oh, you're still waiting? Do you know the difference between these asylum and refugee?
Yes, let me explain to you. If you want to obtain the refugee status, you have to apply from your country. You go to the embassy, fill out the forms, get interviewed, and then if you get qualified and you obtain that status, and then American government just buy your tickets, take care of you, and you get a status. And when you come here, you get all the paperwork ready to go. This asylum, it's a very, I would say, unique way how to become a resident of the United States. As a tourist or student, no matter what, you have 1 year. Within the 1 year, you need to apply.
Okay.
If you stay more than 1 year, most likely you won't be qualified to get the asylum. So, and there are a lot of qualifications. There are a lot of exceptions. There are a lot of kind of regulations, especially when Mr. Trump became a president. He has made a lot of changes. But if you are persecuted due to religion, economical aspects, racism, nationality, and all that stuff. In my case, it was easier because I actually qualified for all of them. I'm gonna tell you why. So, in Uzbekistan, as I told you earlier, it's a Muslim country, so I could not practice my religion. My Mormon religion is not allowed. My Mormon religion is not allowed in Uzbekistan, so I couldn't practicing any religion there. In Russia, there are a lot of churches, a lot of things, and it's kind of democratic country, so let's put it this way. But still, there are a lot of issues with foreigners. For Russian people, I'm not Russian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't look Russian.
I don't look Russian, and for them, I'm like Chinese. They don't like Chinese people. I don't know why, but a lot of Russian people, they hate Chinese people. Chinese or Asians. Let's put it as Asians. Yeah, and there are a lot of some kind of small group of people who are kind of haters. Like, have you ever heard about skinheads?
Yes, I heard about.
I got beaten up by skinheads once in Russia, and it was a bad experience. But yeah, young people, age of like 18 to 20, they were just trying to find Asian people or someone who doesn't look Russian, and they just beat them up. And unfortunately, I got beaten up. And yeah, this is kind of thing what kind of make me start thinking about immigrate from Russia.
My question is, did you need to bring any proofs?
Yeah, of course. I do have some proofs. I do have pictures. I do have documents from hospital, from police.
Oh, okay.
Because I went to police right away. I told them, well, there is a group of people trying to kill me. And the thing is, even though they found those people, they couldn't do anything because they were under the age. So they said, well, they're like high school kids, just running around with like a lot of weapons and just trying to beat you up. Yeah, I have some, and so my declaration or my story declares that I'm a member of the Mormon Church, and I'm not able to practice my religion back to my country. In Russia, I'm not a Russian citizen, so it was hard for me to get a job, and I couldn't live there like freely because I was always afraid that I can beat it up or my family or something.
A skinhead is a member of subculture, which originated among working class in London, England in the 1960s. These were people who wanted to stand out from the crowd. Unfortunately, in Russia, this trend has become synonymous for the fascism and racism. Did they ask about your family?
Who?
The embassy. What about your family, your mom and dad?
Yeah, they asked me about my family. My mom lives in Korea. My father lives in Uzbekistan. They got divorced. So yeah, they asked me about it. In the embassy, was kind of he asked the same questions they ask everybody, like what's your purpose of visiting United States, who's paying for it, how long you're gonna stay there, and all those questions. And I answered all those questions, but he was surprised because even though I had that passport and that visa which allowed me to leave Uzbekistan, but at that time I did not live there permanently. I lived in Russia. So he asked me like, you came to Uzbekistan to see your relatives, and you're asking a visa to go to the States. So having no property, having no pets, kids, family, nothing, like empty passport. And he's like, so give me a reason. He asked me, give me a reason why you want to go to America and coming back. And I told him, I'm a Mormon. I would like to see my friends in Utah, to see all the church, see sites, and kind of, go to the conference, and then to attend the wedding of my friend. So my friend actually sent a letter saying, this is the invitation. I invite Daniel for my wedding. I'll pay for it. I'll cover all expenses, all of that. So he just said, okay, only because you're a Mormon, I'll get you, your visa got approved.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise,
it's one more idea how to get to the United States.
Yes, but become a member of the church first.
Do you know how long will it take you to get visa? It has been delayed because of the president or because of the COVID? What do you think?
You're asking about my
your status
status here. Yeah, recently there were a lot of changes taking place. So these days they help people who come to the States now. So people who have applied earlier, they got stuck in the middle of nowhere. So these days, the first people come to America, they get interviewed and get provided all the documentations first. And this is the way how it is these days.
I have a question.
Sure.
How much did you pay to the lawyer to process all this documentation? How much would it cost to the people if they apply for this asylum status?
Here's the thing. Answering your question, and then I will give you an advice, okay? I paid about $5,000, but since the lawyer was a Mormon, he gave me a discount, 50%, so I paid $2,500 personally, yeah. But I'm gonna give you an advice. At that time, I wasn't familiar with all the immigration process and all that stuff. You need a lawyer only when you made a mistake or did something, and the lawyer can help you, when you're in the court. With asylum, you don't have to have a lawyer. You don't have to. It's just wasting money, I would say. And I will tell you. I'm gonna tell you why. There are a lot of people who can help you to fill out the forms, check your declaration, and kind of giving you support and prepare you for the interview. And they call them paralegal. So they're kind of lawyers, but at the same time they're just helping you to fill out the forms, and it's twice cheaper. I would say about $3,000 approximately here in LA these days, and That's all you need. You just need to have someone who are professional and efficient with paperwork and apply it. I had a chance to go to the interview actually. I was working as an interpreter, like translator, for some of my Russian friends, and they hired me to be their interpreter. And I thought, well, it's a good idea. I can just go there and see how it goes, prepare myself for this interview. So I had 5 or 6 times when I went to actually immigration office, and I was helping my friends to obtain the asylum status. And when they went with a lawyer there, lawyers actually don't participate in those interviews. They're just sitting and saying yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Confirming everything.
This is true.
Right?
This is true. And this is what you're paying for. It's so worth it, honestly.
Where do people can find this information? Is it uscis.gov?
Yeah,
This website?
everything's available online. You can go there and check it out, what the requirements are, what kind of documentations you need to provide. But these days, you have to submit your case and file it all together. In the past, you could just apply online and bring all the documentations later. These days, you have to bring it all together in one pile because they can call you anytime, like very soon. I've been waiting for 4.5 years, but some of my friends, my actual roommates, they came like 2019 or 2020, and they already got the status, and they're already on the process of applying for green cards. So yeah.
You keep mentioning that you have friends who are paying for you, wanted to pay for your college and for everything. Where did you find those friends? Maybe should I look for somebody like that?
Do you want me to give you some referrals?
Of course, why not? So the friends helped me with the documentation, with everything. So
You know, I would say that these days, particularly, it's really important to have a networking, connections, and friends. It's the most helpful tool, no matter where you live. Like in Russia, in America, Utah, wherever you live, if you have networking, connections, friends, you can just easily, kind of survive.
but for some people it's so hard to find those friends. What would you recommend?
I would recommend to not to be shy. There is a kind of a Bible principle: ask and shall be given, knock and shall be opened. If you don't knock the door, nobody is going to open it to you. Or if you never ask, well, you will not get the answer. So asking, searching, just helps a lot to find out what all about. If you're interested about immigration, you just look it up, trying to see like some forums or trying to find people who already gone through it, so they can give you some kind of advice. In my case, it was easier because some of my friends already immigrated at the time, so they showed me the way where to go, who to ask, and how much it's gonna cost approximately, and all that stuff. And these days, I actually have a part-time job at the Express Document Solution. One of my friends, she's the owner of that place, and this is the place where they help people to kind of immigrate, and they're helping with all the applications, with asylum, with marriage, with student visa, with passport, everything.
I have a feeling whenever you go, you have friends everywhere.
That's true.
We just need to follow him, I believe so.
Please do. Please do. We can become friends. I will share my contact information with all my friends.
See? Communication, guys.
Yes.
If you don't know where to start here in the United States, there are a lot of consulting groups that help people to rent an apartment, to buy a car, or find a job. I want to come back to your second job. So you did you start to work as a manager at the restaurant?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And for how long did you work as a manager?
I was working there for a year.
For a year.
Yeah.
And what happened after that?
Well, I was starting earning some money, and I just wanted to invest some money and make money work and make more money, And I've been thinking about it. Where could I invest money? I didn't have that much, but I thought, well, there are a lot of tourists in LA all the time, and they're always asking for a place to stay. car and a job, right?
Yeah.
So, and when I met my friend Nargiza, who is the owner of Express Document Solutions, she just told me, well, you can bring your friends and you can help me to work with them. And I started working for her, and we just help people to apply for, different type of visas or asylum. And then all the people who came to the office, they were asking about cars, about place to stay. I'm like, okay, fine. So I guess I can invest some money, buy some cars, and rent them out. And I bought 2 cars and started renting them out. And I was using a Turo platform, which it's an app, helps you to find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an app which helps you to find a car, and you rent it from the actually owner. It's not like a big corporation like Enterprise or Hertz or whatever. It's just an app.
Let's say I can give my car, people can rent it out.
Yes, and you can make some money. It's kind of passive income, and they provide you insurance and everything. So it's very good way how to make some money. Yeah, I just was renting out my cars, and then I was getting more money, buy more cars, and 1 year later, I just didn't have enough time to work for the restaurant because I had a lot of clients coming into the office and with renting cars, like apartments, all that stuff. So I quit my job and I started working at the Express Document Solution.
And you're still working there?
I'm still working there as a contractor. So whenever they need me, they hire me and I do my job there. In the meantime, I do some other things.
What are the other things? It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. The other things, I figured out that California is a great place just to use all your skills, your talents, skills, and so forth. I love singing. Well, all the Asians love to sing, actually. I love singing.
Who told you? No.
No?
I love to, but it's horrible.
So yeah, I love singing, I love dancing, and back in Russia sometimes I was hosting some kind of weddings or events. So I started doing this here, I just found a place where they actually hosting some kind of Russian events, and we're singing, dancing there, and people just saw me and they hired me to be their host for their weddings, birthdays, kind of events. So, and yeah, I was host. I'm a host.
You're a host.
Yeah, I'm a host, and sometimes I sing. Sometimes I have friends who are helping me with this kind of thing. So when we have a wedding or birthday, I have a crew who can sing, dance, like DJing, like a lot of different things. So and I work as a host here, like for Russian events.
I told you he's so talented. And I feel like no matter I ask you, you have an answer to everything.
Some of my friends are calling me a walking encyclopedia.
If you need some information, you can call you.
Yeah, call me. Maybe. So I started this kind of things. I'm not a professional singer. I'm not a professional host, but I just love to make people happy, to celebrate their events, and I don't have any advertising or anything like that. Like, people see me, they hear me, and it just spread out the word, and that's how I became kind of well known here among the Russian community in Los Angeles. And they know that I have cars. I do have networking with Express Document Solutions. So whenever they have new people coming to LA, they call me, and I just send them. Well, you can go to do this here. You can go to DMV. You can just do this and that. There's some kind of things that everybody go through. When they first come to America.
I feel bad I didn't know you when I moved here.
Now we know each other.
Very helpful.
Oh yeah.
And question.
Sure.
Did you have something that surprised you a lot when you first came here?
Well, I'm a multicultural person, so the only thing that kind of shocked me when I first came to America, it was food.
Good, bad?
Different.
Different.
Different. Everybody has his own taste, so I cannot say it's better or worse. It's just different. And in Russia, we prefer to use like a lot of natural products, like organic,
Yeah.
mostly. Here, there are a lot of junk food, like not good food. So
No, like American food here. I believe it's like multicultural.
what is American food? Let's be honest.
Hamburgers?
What else?
I don't know. We have to ask.
Pizza, hamburgers. What else in America? Like American food, nothing.
McDonald's, right? That's all.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I'm trying to stay. I don't eat fast food, so for me, American food wasn't an option. So that's why, and I'm really picky. Since I used to work in restaurants, I'm really picky with food. So I was actually cooking for myself the first time. When I first came to America, I was cooking to myself mostly, and I didn't have enough, money to go eat out a lot, so it's kind of expensive. For me, it was kind of this thing, and also the other thing is cultural aspect of life here in America.
What do you mean?
When I ask, well, let me explain to you. I do have a lot of American friends, and when I ask them, when we're talking about culture, about some kind of things, for Americans, culture means like some kind of traditions. They do have traditions. They do some kind of holidays. They're trying to spend time with family and all that stuff. For us, Russian people or people from Europe, it's a little bit different. Culture means that you spend some time to do some kind of cultural activities, such as going to the theater, watching the opera, ballet, like to have some kind of manners, to like all these aspects. Here is a little bit different. So it's not worse or better, it's just different, don't get me wrong. And yeah, it's just this aspect of life. And the other thing is relationship between people. In America, it's different too. Like
it is.
I agree. You know, right? What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just different environment, and I'm not saying that they have to follow our culture. We come to America and we immigrate here, so we have to follow their culture and kind of accept their principles, their lifestyle, but at the same time to be who you are. So this is what I love about America. No matter where you're coming from, it's totally up to you. Either you accept the culture and traditions and the lifestyle here, or you deny it and you just become kind of an outsider and you kind of live your own life. There are a lot of people here in America, I've noticed that they're kind of depressed, or they're
You mean people who immigrated, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're just facing this kind of situation where when they kind of don't really fit this environment. We have a phrase in Russian. I don't know how to translate it into English like correctly. I would say you feel like a fish from a different aquarium.
Oh, okay, yes.
Do
you think it's a problem because people don't speak? When they immigrate, a lot of people don't speak and they kind of feel locked in their own community. They speak only to the people from the same country. They don't participate, they don't interact with other people, and I feel like they feel trapped. That is why.
Yes and no. Why yes? Of course, when you speak English, you can freely communicate and explain what you want, right? And no, because you're in California. Like, there's so many languages here available. If you go to any government department, such as DMV or any other places, interpreter is provided for free. Yeah. Any language. Like, for example, if you want to take the written test at the DMV, it's available in Russian.
Yeah, it is.
When you go to any other places, if you don't speak like English, they can call and say, okay, I need a Russian interpreter, and they will provide it to you. It's easier here in California for those who don't speak English that well. But the other thing is, if you are moving to America, you should be aware of that you need to learn at least some phrases how to find the restroom, how to order hamburger, or
Right.
how to, kind
I
of
agree. Yes, totally.
survive here. And there are a lot of actually schools here in the States who offer you free English programs here. It's a very, it's a
Yeah.
very,
There is a lot of support here.
yeah, it's a lot of support, and if you have a desire, you find opportunities.
Yeah.
If you don't have desire, you're finding excuses. This is another phrase.
Yeah.
So if you move to another country, you have to be ready to change your life and learn new things, or use all your skills in order to be able to provide yourself.
Remember this.
Such
Such a good advice.
Yeah, it's good advice. I think everybody has a different talents. Everybody has a different gifts from God, and you just need to open up and don't be lazy. Just if you're lazy, doesn't matter where you go to, you just will be complaining about life, about everything and everybody. But if you're not lazy and you're willing to change your life to a better, I think you just need to move on, kick your butt from the bed and just do something.
What would you advise to the people who want to immigrate, who will be watching you and watching other people and saying like, oh my God, they have such a wonderful life and we want to have the same? What should they bring with them, or what should they do?
The first advice I would say, when you watch Hollywood movies, which shows you how beautiful life is here, it's not true. It's not true. Before you move to America, I would say that you need to see what are you gonna do here, like how are you gonna establish or get settled here. This is the first thing. The second thing is earn enough money to provide yourself with food, place to stay for first months or so while you're looking for a job or something like that.
What do you think? How much do they need to have?
It depends how much they spend on food.
What about the housing?
Housing, it's expensive in California, but you can find cheap places here. Actually, if you are searching around, there are a lot of communities or places where you can actually get a not really expensive apartment. And some places actually, as you know, they're required to have Social Security and all of that stuff. But there's some places where they don't require it. You just have to put more deposit and you're good to go right away.
Find good friends.
Yes, or find good friends who can help you out. Just talking about food, there are a lot of opportunities here. When I first came to California, I found some food banks in some kind of places where they were willing to just give away food. And that food was good. It wasn't like something like bad.
Yeah.
It was good food, and I saved a lot of money for that. Food banks are open for everybody, no matter of your status or who you are, homeless or not homeless. They offer food for free, and it's available. And there are a lot of opportunities here in Los Angeles, particularly in California, Los Angeles, California, where you can just immigrate. And when you first come here, you can just survive. There are a lot of opportunities for programs.
All of us, we have our ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the time when you felt down, when you felt bad, really bad?
Of course, when I was just taking care of the snow in the roof of my friends, and when it was so cold, I was like, what am I doing here? I moved to America just to work for my friends. Or when I just had a really heavy things to move around, when it was like 90 degrees outside and you just moving the furniture around. Well, of course I was a little bit down, but every time when I was down, I tried to find a way how to cheer myself up. Since I love singing, I went to sing to karaoke. When I just needed to place just to chill, I went to the ocean, I went to the forest or parks to spend time with yourself, with friends, or just, kind of refresh. And, it's really, when when people just ask me about immigrating, I usually tell them another advice. It's better to try it out, and then you can compare your life here, your life back home, and they're always way back home. You always can go back home. Nobody will stop you to go back home, but you will never find out how it feels like and looks like unless you come here and try it out. Give a chance.
That's true. But you mean to compare to come here and live for some time?
Yeah, of course.
But you know, sometimes it's not the same when you come as a visitor. When you come as a visitor, you have money, you have all this fun, you come back and you think, oh my God, I'm gonna live here. It's so much fun. I'm gonna run the world. You know?
Yes.
And the second time, when you immigrate with your family and if you have kids and you arrive, you just realize you don't have fun anymore. You have to work. You have to provide food.
You have to work. You have to work no matter where you live, especially when you have family.
True, but the picture is different.
Of
when
course.
you come the first time, you have fun. It's like, wow, you didn't think about work that time.
That's why you need to talk to someone who's been living here, who could give you some advice and then telling you what you have to be prepared for. If you just move your entire family to the States, having 5 kids, having no job, no place to go, of course you are kind of screwed. I would say.
That's what happened when people they win a green card.
Mm-hmm.
They sell everything. They take their kids, money. They come here, and they think they have a lot. But in 1 year, all money are gone. And it's the biggest, you know.
Yeah, there is another advice for the families. I'm a single guy, so it's easier for me. But for the family, I would say, well, through my friends' experiences with family, if you have kids and family, it's better for a husband to come first, to get a job, find a place to stay, starting working here, and then you can afford your family to come here and join you. This would be the easiest way. But at the same time, if only they all have visas or green card, this is the only condition. If they have a green card, it's even easier. You don't have to worry about your status, about your work permit, all the documentations. You come here, you get your green card, and you just can work. The only thing is you just need to think about your work, about your job, what you're going to do here.
I believe the biggest disappointment for the people is when they had a decent job. They come here and they realize they can work in a bank. They can run the hotels here until they start from the bottom. And this is the biggest pain for them. They had to maybe clean the houses, do all these dirty jobs.
Well, if you want to have a bright and successful future for your kids, you're willing to get any type of job at the beginning.
But what about us, not kids? Kids gonna have their life. What about us? We won't have our life.
Of course. It all depends on your attitude. Even when you have a kind of a dirty job, it's still respectful. This is the thing. In America, when you do any type of job, people are actually thankful, grateful.
Yeah,
this is what I got the feeling when I was working as a mover. I was moving, furniture around, and if I would be a mover back in Russia,
oh yeah,
it's another story, right?
Yes.
Here in the States, people are grateful and they respect what you're doing because you're helping them out. No matter what job you do, like even if you're just cleaning the apartments, most of the people, they're respectful and they give you good money and they even give you tips, and that's just the way how it is in the States. No matter what type of job you have, if you do it properly in a good way, it's appreciated here.
I think it's mostly in our heads when we comparing,
it's a stereotypes.
Yeah.
It is stereotypes. Like there are a lot of my friends who just had really good jobs in the States. I mean, back in Russia. For example, I have a friend of mine who worked as a dentist back in Russia, and he was making a decent amount of money, and he has 3 kids. and a dog, so 3.5. So when they first started thinking about immigrating to America, they called me and I gave them some advice, what to be prepared of, you know. So they sold out all the properties, cars, everything, and they moved to America. And they stayed with me for a month at my place. 3 kids and a dog, and yeah, so.
So you know how
Yeah.
it is to have a family, right?
Yeah, I helped them out to, you know, with all the things, with apartments, cars, everything. But then 2 months later, parents just, it's really hard for them to learn English. They didn't want to learn English.
How old were they?
They were about like 45-ish. His wife speaks German, so it was easier for her. But husband, he doesn't speak English that well, but he is a great dentist and a good technician. But he couldn't work here as a dentist, right? Because he should have a special
Yes.
license and all that stuff. But since he was a good technician and he works with all the crowns, all that stuff, so he could start working as in the laboratory, you know, to make all those things. But 2 months later, they decided to go back home. They just had a kind of family meeting and they just told kids, you know, it was great to stay in America, right? You loved it? Kids, of course.
Yes.
Disneyland, you know, the Universal Studio, all those, like, you know, Six Flags. And kids are like 9, 11, 15. Of course, they
it's
love
such-
California. And they say, well, now it's time to go home. We're buying an apartment there, and yeah. And you know what the kids said? You can go home, but we're staying here.
Oh wow.
They said, well, we will work and make money to stay here. We really love living in America. And parents just looked to each other and like, okay, fine, we're staying. And they've been living here for 3 years. She got a job, he got a job, and they're enjoying. They bought a house actually a couple months ago. And
There you go.
yeah, and they just enjoying life and everything is good. You know, it just all depends on your attitude and your desire. If you desire of something, you know, you will do everything which is possible or impossible to achieve your goal. So when you set the goal, you find the ways how to achieve it, and you make plans, you know. Before you come to America, you need to make a plan, right?
So what would be your advice if you come to the America? Should you apply for the university, or you can come and find a job and just climb the ladder, you know, working from the bottom your way up?
If you decide to become a student, it's a different story, because you apply for a student visa, you obtain F1 and I-20, but you're not allowed to work more than 20 hours and only on the campus.
No, I'm asking like if you move with a family.
As a
You come
family.
here and let's say you cannot do what you used to do in your country. Should you go to the university, or should you start just working your way up?
My advice for all of those who want to move to America and they're thinking about jobs, forget about what you did in Russia. If you want to start over the life here, a new life here, I would recommend to learn some kind of skills such as a hairdresser, masseuse, like everything what you can do with like service. Here in America, they really need people who can do all those things, and it get paid really well here. Hairdressers, all the like services, good money, good tips, and it's easier. You don't need to know your language. You don't need to know English that well. You're learning English, but at the same time, if you know how to use your hands, it will help you to earn enough money to be able to afford to stay here.
Thank you so much. I love you having here. You're such a great, and you gave us a lot of great advices. Thank you so much. I hope they will be very helpful to the people.
You're welcome. Come again.